What's up, all? Cinephile Mike is here, and we are in Season 4 of Award Season Reviews. 98 reviews coming at you in 98 days, counting down to the 98th Academy Awards. Quick reminder, before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single day of these awards so you can plan your award season watch. We're starting to wrap up our third theme week of the season. We are in Netflix week. We are looking at those films that are right at the click of a remote button for you. No hunting down rentals, no stress, just a way to detox from holiday chaos. And for today's penultimate episode of the week, I am talking about Netflix's Steve. Written by Max Porter, based on his 2023 novella entitled Shy, and directed by Tim Milantz, Steve premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival before heading over to the streamer. Steve takes place in the mid-90s England at Stanton Wood Manor, a residential reform school for troubled teenage boys. Over the course of one very intense day, a documentary crew arrives to film life at the school. Now, this is a plan to help raise awareness for the school so they can possibly secure more funds and make the general public aware of this program. At the center of it all is Steve, played by Cillian Murphy, the head teacher whose calm authority and empathy have really made him beloved by the students, even as the pressure of the world outside threatens everything he's built. And he perhaps doesn't always manage things in the best way. Aiding Steve is his trusty right hand, Amanda, the deputy head, played by Tracy Ullman, the lead therapist for the boys, Jenny, played by Emily Watson, and several other compassionate teachers, including Shola, played by Simbi Ajikawa. Now, the students at Stanton Wood are a unique mix. From quick-to-anger Riley, played by Joshua J. Parker, to bullied, heavyset Jamie, played by Luke Ayers, to volatile Tyrone, played by Tut Nayut, to Shy, a weed-smoking young rapper struggling with inner turmoil and family rejection, played by Jay Lycurgo. Now, as our staff tries their best to work with these young men, and they challenge most of the things thrown their way, there is still hope for things to turn out okay. Until, of course, when it rains, it pours. On this day of the documentary crew showing up, the trustees of the school arrive to announce that they are planning to close the school in 6 months, forcing everyone to confront what they'll lose if this fragile community collapses. This, of course, only adds yet another layer of frustration to all involved, and while some will take this in tow, others respond in different manners, which may have life-changing impacts on all involved. What Steve recalls most strongly is the documentary The Bad Kids, which I previously covered during Oscar Rewind. It was a portrait of students who aren't inherently bad. Well, maybe here some of them are a little bit more extreme than in that documentary, but look, they have been failed by a system that doesn't know how to help them. And though this film, Steve, is fictionalized, there's a strong sense of authenticity in the performances by the young men playing these students who never feel like caricatures or narrative devices. Their anger, the detachment, and the defensiveness register as learned behaviors rather than personality traits, which really grounds the film in a lived-in reality that makes the stakes feel real even within this stylized framework. At the center of the film is Cillian Murphy delivering a deeply layered performance as Steve, a man attempting to hold order, empathy, and control amid constant chaos. Within a brisk 90-minute or so runtime, Murphy creates a fascinating portrait of someone unraveling quietly rather than explosively. That said, while the source material is primarily rooted in Shy's perspective, the film shifts its focus toward the teacher at the front of the room. A choice that's debatable, because I will say Shy's story is arguably the more compelling one, but Murphy is the name here, and his commitment largely justifies the pivot. Jay Lycurgo, in particular, really does give a standout performance as Shy, conveying years of pain and frustration through subtle glances and body language, often communicating even more in silence than in dialogue. Now, from a craft standpoint, editor Danielle Palmer skillfully keeps the narrative moving, intercutting the main story with footage and interviews captured by the film's fictional documentary crew in a way that enhances momentum rather than disrupts it. Pocky Smith's production design gives Stantonwood Manor a worn institutional feel, not a prison per se, but close enough to evoke that claustrophobia that the boys are experiencing. I also want to say Tracy Ullman delivers a restrained, quietly affecting performance as Amanda, balancing the toughness of school administrator with the tenderness of someone who genuinely loves these kids despite the toll it takes on them. Director Tim Millians, he draws strong naturalistic performances from this young cast, creating the believable sense that while these boys may not necessarily like one another, they understand the role they play in each other's survival. Still, that film, it struggles a little bit with tonal imbalance, and at times this tight runtime works against it. A few elements feel a little underdeveloped, leaving the film emotionally potent but slightly uneven. Now, let's talk about box office and awards. As with most Netflix films, unfortunately, no box office numbers to report. It seems to have gone straight to the streamer. Critically, I believe this is one of the lowest films I've discussed this week. With 95 critical reviews, the film has a 78% tomato meter and a 66% popcorn meter culled from over 250 audience reviews. Award season wise, it has had a small one. While a nominee for the Platform Award at the Toronto International Film Festival where it premiered, the only other awards recognition it has received is from the British Independent Film Awards. Of 3 nominations, it did take home 1 win, which was for Lycurgo for Best Supporting Performance. The other 2 nods were for Best Casting and Best Lead Performance for Murphy. Those nods, based on what I said before, definitely earned. Now, as for its Oscar chances, I don't really think there are any. The best we can possibly hope for is a BAFTA nod in the Best British Film category, which is usually where these films pop up, and possibly Lycurgo his name could pop up in the EE Rising Star Award. Hopefully there was enough exposure for him to land there. So where do I land on this film? As a teacher, I felt Steve's and Amanda's pain, but the film, I wanted to like it more. It's kind of just an okay, middle-of-the-ground 3-star film for me. I don't regret seeing it. Murphy's performance is strong. There were just a lot of missed opportunities with this one. But I'm curious to know, what do you think? Head over to Netflix, check it out, 90 minutes, let me know in those comments. All right, thank you all for joining me for episode 20 of Award Season Reviews Season 4. We're going to be doing this every day for the next 78 days, so stay tuned. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, drop your thoughts in the comments. You can follow me everywhere on social platforms, on Letterboxd, and find lots of great additional content on my website, cinephilemike.com. All right, I'll be back tomorrow with the next review, but until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.